AG is about to take her place next to the President of the Senate. And I guess after that point in time, I can get started.
Yes, and President of the Senate is present this morning, and welcome President James as well. Thank you.
As I gave fair warning to you earlier, Mr. Speaker, the speech itself is rather long, but I do know that it is being handed out to everyone. So, Mr. Speaker, if I may, I'm happy to commence.
Yes, and the Sergeant is distributing. They're being distributed to the members now.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to my feet to give a statement from the government in support of the estimates of revenue and expenditure for fiscal year 2026-27. Mr. Speaker, 9 years ago, when this government first took office, it did so at a time when Bermuda was facing fiscal challenges on many fronts. Our national debt had doubled. Our island's credit rating had been downgraded. Tourism had recorded the lowest air arrivals in decades. And Bermudian families, public servants, and our children were carrying the heaviest burden in an unfair approach to shared sacrifice. This government was elected on a promise to build a fairer, better Bermuda and govern in a way that puts Bermudians first, even when the choices were difficult. That, Mr. Speaker, remains the guiding principle behind this year's budget. The theme of this budget, responsible choices, lasting benefits for Bermudians, reflects the balance this government has tried to strike over the past 9 years. Making careful, disciplined financial decisions that safeguard stability while ensuring that economic progress translates into investment in the future and real improvements in the lives of our people. Over this period, Bermuda has faced global and local challenges that no government could have predicted. We endured the most severe economic disruption in modern Bermuda's history during the COVID-19 pandemic. At a time when our airport was closed, we were forced to shelter in place while thousands of Bermudians were suddenly uncertain about their livelihoods. Through it all, this government chose to protect jobs, continue public services, and support families and businesses through unprecedented support measures. We made decisions that were not always easy and not always popular, but which kept Bermuda stable and positioned us for recovery. Today, Mr. Speaker, Bermuda is stronger. Our economy is stronger. Employment has grown. Investment has increased. International business continues to expand, and our public finances are on a more sustainable footing than they were 9 years ago. This government has achieved this while introducing Bermuda's first minimum wage, increasing pensions for seniors every year, expanding access to affordable health care, investing in education, and delivering the largest program of affordable housing development in a generation. But, Mr. Speaker, this government is also honest about the fact that many Bermudians are still feeling the pressures of the cost of living and housing affordability. Progress at the macro level does not always feel like progress at the kitchen table. And responsible government means that recognizing that reality, not ignoring it. Mr. Speaker, this year's budget is shaped by a new and significant opportunity for Bermuda. Bermuda's new corporate income tax allows our island to benefit directly from the profits generated by international companies operating here. This new revenue gives us the ability to make choices that previous governments simply did not have available to them. And we have chosen to use this moment responsibly. This budget delivers the largest reduction in national debt in Bermuda's history. It cuts payroll taxes for all workers in Bermuda while also making major investments in capital projects and social programs, including housing, healthcare, and education. In doing so, this government is sending a clear message. This is the time to build on the strong foundations we have laid, using additional funds responsibly to support the people of Bermuda, whilst also reducing our debt so that future generations are not burdened. Mr. Speaker, this budget is also a personal milestone for me, as it will be my final one as Premier Minister of Finance. When I entered public life, I did so with a deep sense of responsibility to serve this country and to help build a fairer, stronger Bermuda. Over the past 9 years, I have seen firsthand how difficult, complex, and demanding this work can be. However, I have also seen what is possible when people come together with a shared commitment to progress. I am proud of what this government has achieved, not because every problem has been solved, but because Bermuda today is more stable, more resilient, and better positioned for the future than when this government took office. Mr. Speaker, Bermuda does not operate in isolation. As a small, open economy driven by international business, shifts in the world economy are felt here at home. I will, as customary, Mr. Speaker, devote the opening of my address today to the review of global and local economic conditions. The global economy first, Mr. Speaker. In 2025, the global economy continued to face a range of challenges. Ongoing uncertainties surrounding trade policies, periods of volatility in energy and commodity markets, and the lingering effects of earlier monetary tightening all continue to weigh on global economic growth. The OECD estimates that global growth is projected to slow from 3.2% in 2025 to 2.9% in 2026, before picking back up to 3.1% in 2027. The International Monetary Fund points to a similar overall outlook, estimating global growth at 3.3% in both 2025 and 2026, before easing slightly to 3.2% in 2027. Growth in advanced economies is expected to remain broadly stable at 1.7% from 2025 to 2027. United States growth is forecasted to increase from 2.1% in this current year to 2.4% in 2026, before easing to 2% in 2027. Growth in emerging markets and development economies are projected to moderately soften from 4.4% in 2025 to 4.2% in 2026 and 4.1% in 2027. Mr. Speaker, although still elevated, global inflation is expected to continue its downward trajectory, falling from 4.1% in 2025 to 3.8% in 2026 and a further 3.4% in 2027. This decline reflects lower energy and commodity price pressures, improving supply chain conditions, and gradually easing labor market tightness. Despite this progress, Mr. Speaker, downside risks have increased. The OECD identifies rising trade fragmentation as a key concern. Expanded tariff measures from the United States, along with retaliatory actions by trading partners, have heightened uncertainty in global trade. Such measures raise the cost of imported goods and production inputs, disrupt established supply chains, and dampen business confidence and investment. In summary, Mr. Speaker, the global economic environment is characterized by slower but continued growth, easing yet still elevated inflation, and heightened trade policy uncertainty. While a severe downturn is not the central forecast, the balance of risks remains tilted to the downside. Continued progress on inflation, prudent policy management, and stable trade linkages will be essential in sustaining global economic stability. Mr. Speaker, allow me to now turn my attention to the domestic economy. Bermuda's real gross domestic product, the primary indicator of economic growth, is estimated to have increased between 2.5 to 3% in 2025. This growth reflects solid performance in the international business sector and further recovery in tourism, supported by strong job growth, rising employment income, consumer spending, and foreign currency earnings. Mr. Speaker, the international business sector continues to be the primary driver of economic growth. During the first 3 quarters of 2025, a total of 398 new international companies and partnerships were registered in Bermuda. For the year, the sector employed 5,112 persons, representing an increase of 72 jobs, or 1.4%, when compared to the previous year. Total employment income within the sector rose by a further 5.5%, or 76.9 million, contributing significantly to overall growth in national income. Mr. Speaker, Bermuda's tourism sector demonstrated resilience amid a challenging environment in 2025. Although air and cruise visitor arrivals declined, total visitor spending across air and cruise increased by 3.5% to $550 million. Hotel performance remained resilient, and super yacht tourism was the standout performer, with arrivals rising 50% and associated visitor spending increasing 64% year on year. Tourism activity also continued to support employment growth in the accommodation and food services sector, with 64 additional jobs representing a 1.7% increase. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to report that employment throughout our economy has strengthened during 2025. The total number of filled positions has risen by 279 posts, representing a 0.8% increase, which marks the fourth successive year of employment expansion. Growth has been concentrated predominantly in the public administration, international business, and accommodation and food services, with these three sectors collectively accounting for over half of all new positions created. Conversely, the most significant contractions were registered in financial insurance activities, information communication, and real estate activities. Unemployment has continued its downward trajectory, standing at 1.4% in November 2024, well below the 2.8% recorded a year earlier, representing the lowest rates recorded since 1917. Among Bermudians, the unemployment rate also fell from 3.3% to 1.3%. Whilst the development is certainly welcome, Mr. Speaker, the government is mindful that a constrained labor market may generate inflationary wage pressures across the broader economy. It is therefore imperative that government policy facilitates an adequate labor supply to underpin sustained economic expansion. During the first 9 months of 2025, employment income became a principal driver of consumer activity, expanding by 5.8%, or $196.1 million, to $3.57 billion. Aggregate retail sector turnover stood at $948 million over the first 3 quarters, reflecting a 1.5% increase compared to the corresponding period a year earlier. Additionally, personal consumer spending rose by 2.4% to total $4 billion through 2024. Moving to the construction sector, Mr. Speaker, although the value of new projects fell by 60% to $45.1 million over the first 9 months, the total estimated value of construction activity undertaken grew from $70 million to $112.8 million, an increase of 60%, or $42.7 million. This expansion was driven by the office, retail, and warehousing category, which increased by $20 million. Mr. Speaker, Bermuda's annual inflation rate was 2.2% in September 2025, remaining below major economies such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. This increase reflected notable rise in health and personal care, up 3.9%, rent up 1.9%.